And Mr. Man Singh said that he will like to go first, so I will change the order. I was trying to ask him questions in the end, but let me change the sequence. While speaking at Harvard University a few months back, the former National Security Advisor, Ambassador Shiv Shankar Menon, said to look at India-China relations as a zero-sum game, which is what happens when you look at it in terms of the boundary dispute or as a tabulation of military force or economic data points, is to miss the wood for the trees, to miss the reality of what has happened over the last 50 years, and to misunderstand the situation we face today. The fact is, India-China border is the most peaceful border that India has today. China is both an opportunity and a challenge. And Mr. Man Singh, sir.
I think what Mr. Menon was expressing was what is the conventional view on China in the official Indian establishment. I would call it a sort of neo-Nehruvian doctrine on China. It was articulated right in the beginning by Pandit Nehru. And the big debate that took place, the first big split in the cabinet, was between Sardar Patel and Pandit Nehru, November 1950, after the Chinese occupation of Tibet. And Patel raised these issues. He said, first of all, with the occupation of Tibet, the Chinese are on our doorsteps. Next, they are going to claim territories on our side of the Himalayas. They are going to affect the security of the neighboring countries. India will have to fight a two-front war, and you must be ready for it. And Pandit Nehru said, start revising your policy on China, stop promoting China's interests abroad, and start looking at your relations with other countries like the United States, Britain, and Russia. That is the traditional view. I'm afraid the world has progressed a lot beyond that. But to state today that China and India have strategic congruence, I think is a cruel joke. We call ourselves strategic partners. Can you imagine if your single threat comes from one country, you declare that your strategic partner? I think it's weird humor. What I would suggest is we should look at the China policy and see where we have commonalities, where we have challenges. I think the challenges have far outgrown the commonalities, and the time has come to us to see China as it is, as mainly as a threat to our security, as a country that is arming Pakistan with nuclear, military, and missile technology aimed at India. It's challenging the sea lanes of commerce in the Indian Ocean area. It's diverting the waters of the Brahmaputra, which will affect us. And of course, the 4,000 odd kilometers of undemarcated border. So we can't pretend that it's just a question of four guys with a dog pitching a tent at 18,000 feet in some remote Himalayan region. China is a threat to our security, and let us accept it. And then your policy will follow. But to be in denial, I think, is doing India considerable harm.
Pandit Nehru is always receiving end on China policy. But I will read out what he said in the Parliament, Lok Sabha, November 27, 1959. We know enough history to realize that a strong China is normally an expansionist China. This has been the case throughout the history. Would you agree in some merit in this?
Yes, but did he follow that belief? Because at the end of it he said, trust me, the Chinese will never attack us. The Pakistanis are our enemy. I think this is what we have to look at. Can we now trust any government which says, China is not a threat, let's carry on? In fact, the doctrine says that we should not only find commonalities, let us not raise issues with China because they are going to come down on us heavily. So let us wait for the time when we are ready to confront them, which I think will never come. And finally, they suggest that we should make an offer to have a cooperative security relationship with China. I think that's a lot to swallow.